So here are a few chord turnaround licks we can kind of plug in to kind of signal the end of a chord progression, that we're going to another section of the song, or even just a cycle back to the beginning part of any chord progression or song. So the only other time I've talked about turnarounds have been in my blues form video. All right, and in that I kind of talk about the turnaround being the last 4 measures. Here, these are mainly going to be 2 measure kind of turnarounds because we're going to be kind of going through quite a few chords here. So each of these I'm going to be going through in the key of C. I'll probably show you how they sound in a blues, and then also how they sound in like a song. Song example, probably just strum 1 chord. Anyways, so here we go. The first example is going to be in the key of C. It'd be C, A minor, D minor, or G, or C, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. All right. Now the numbers to that would be a 1, 6, 2, 5. So if I were to plug that in at the end of a blues, I'm just going to take the last 4 measures, which is going to be a 5 chord, G, 1, 4. You can see how it kind of puts a nice bow right on the tail end of that. All right. Now, if I were just kind of doing a song, you can see how it, like I said, it puts a nice little bow on that. So our first example is going to be a 1, 6, 2, 5. You can take or leave the diatonic 7th chord, which would be like an A minor 7, D minor 7, or G7. Now the second example is going to be a 3, 6, 2, 5. Now this one we can kind of play with a little bit, because we can turn that 6th chord into a dominant 7 or into a minor 7. All right? Like I said, the 7th chords we could take or leave. All right? So my 3 chord in the key of C is going to be an E minor. My 6th chord is going to be an A. Like I said, that one could be either an A minor or an A7. Then we have D minor or D minor 7, and then G or G7. All right. So if I were to plug that into a blues, it'd be G, F, that was with the dominant 6. That was with a minor 6. Again, these we can use as kind of substitutions for just whatever the last measure or 2 is going to be. Now, if we were doing like a song, I was just doing a couple of chords, just doing C and A minor, and then where the turnaround would be to bring me back to C. So again, that is a 3, 6, 2, 5 with either a dominant or a minor 6 chord. So my third example is a little bit more complex. We're going to be using a TriTone substitution and also a diminished chord. So this one is going to be 1, a sharp 1, diminished chord, a 2, and then a flat 2, dominant 7th chord. All right. So in the key of C, that's going to be C, C sharp diminished, D minor, and then D flat 7. In this example, I'm actually using a D flat 9 sharp 11. Oh man, that's an ugly sounding, or the ugly name, but cool sounding chord in this context, right? So I have C major 7, C sharp diminished, D minor 7, and then that D flat 7, or D flat 9 sharp 11. All right. Now, in the context of a blues, it does give it a jazzier feel, but 5, 4. All right. So we can kind of hear it in as the last 4 measures of a blues in C. In a song, maybe it'd be C, A minor, Alright, so then again that is a 1, sharp 1 diminished, 2 as a minor or minor 7, and then a flat 2, 7, or any sort of 7 substitute that you might want, like a 9, 9 sharp 11, or anything kind of like that. My fourth example is going to be 1, One is a diminished chord, kind of like a 2 over 1, and then a 7 diminished chord. Alright, so I'm going to actually give you note names now. In the key of C, that'd be C, C diminished, D minor over C, and then B diminished. Alright, so this one is pretty neat, and I actually use this one all the time. It's going to be C, C diminished, D minor over C, and then B diminished. Now, in the context of blues, again, we're kind of getting to a little bit jazzier stuff, but cool nonetheless. 5, 4, 1, alright, so that's kind of neat. And then in the context of a song, maybe there's that C to A minor thing again. Alright. My fifth example is another one of my personal favorites. And this one's kind of using a combination of a bunch of tritone substitutions, but instead of using dominant 7th chords for tritone substitutions, we're actually using major 7th chords. Alright, so this one is going to be a 1, flat 3, flat 6, flat, back to 1 again. Alright, now the kind of the positions that I'm using is just a C major 7 as a kind of like an A shape. I'm using an E flat major 7 as like a C shape. I'm using an A flat, my flat 6 chord, as a major 7 sharp 11. And then I have a D flat 6 9. Now, so the chord progressions here are going to be C, E flat, A flat, D flat, or 1, flat 3, flat 6, flat 2. All right? So let's hear that in the context of a blues. Again, those are just those are my personal favorite ways to kind of finger those chords, but you're more than welcome to use anything else that you'd like. Kind of getting into another sort of jazzier turnaround here. And there, the one simpler example I did was just using all kind of my normal bar chord major 7th shapes there. So we C as an A shape, E flat as an A shape, A flat as a kind of like an E shape right there, and then my D flat as that right there. You could also just use major chords, but I tend to like some of those jazzier chords. Kind of spices things up a little bit. Now in the context of a song, C to A minor sort of thing.